Darth Malgus was not always the monster we know him as today, because his devastating story actually started with him being just a young boy named Vera-Dune, living in the hidden Sith Empire in 3700 BBY. Vera-Dune's Force abilities manifested early and violently. As a young boy living with his adoptive father, an Imperial scientist, he deliberately chose to test the limits of his dark power. When one of the household's Twi'lek servants displeased him, Vera-Dune reached out through the Force and snapped her neck with a simple thought. This wasn't an accident born from rage, but a calculated experiment to see what he was capable of. The cold precision of the act revealed the sinister potential lurking within the child. Rather than horror, his adoptive father felt only excitement. The boy had a future with the Sith. Imperial law demanded that all Force sensitives be sent for evaluation and training. No single Force user was left behind, as the Sith philosophy required using every tool to its fullest potential. Even slaves who showed Force sensitivity would be recruited for the upcoming war. The day before departure, his adoptive father imparted 3 crucial lessons during a zoo tour that would deeply influence Malgus's philosophy. These lessons about deception, expectations, and empty cages would shape his understanding of power and survival. Vera-Dune was destined for the path of a Sith warrior. His large, muscular frame made this clear as he grew into manhood, but the next chapter would forge who he became, Darth Malgus. This video draws from Star Wars legends, mainly The Old Republic and Paul S. Kemp's Deceived. It took a lot of research, so I hope you enjoy. The making of a monster. Vera-Dune was sent to train on Dromund Kaas, where he demonstrated formidable lightsaber skills and aggressive combat techniques that would define his fighting style. Something unexpected happened during his academy years. While on a mission to Geonosis, young Vera-Dune encountered a female Twi'lek slave being brutally beaten by her owner. He acted on compassion and freed her. He took her as his personal servant. Her name was Alina Daru. Because attachment was taboo among the Sith, Malgus kept Alina's true role hidden. Officially a servant, she was in truth his partner, devoted to him and often by his side in battle with dual blasters. The name change from Vera-Dune to Malgus occurred when he was recruited for Sith training. While his political skills were non-existent, he possessed the mind of a prophet. His ability to draw on the dark side was exceptional. When battling enemies, his fury knew no limits. Had his political skills matched his physical prowess, he would have climbed the Empire's ladder much sooner. The return of the Sith. Eventually, Malgus was assigned to Sith Master Darth Vindican, a pureblood wielding a double-bladed lightsaber. Vindican trained Malgus briefly until the momentous time arrived, the Sith Empire's return to galactic prominence. Vindican and Malgus were appointed to the front lines for the initial assault on Korriban. During the assault, Vindican sensed Jedi on the orbital station and set their shuttle down to confront them. This battle became legendary, immortalized in an Old Republic cinematic. Malgus ultimately overpowered Jedi Battlemaster Kao Sendarak by drawing on an immense well of dark-side power. He pressed the advantage and overwhelmed Darak. He even nearly killed young Satel Shan before her master intervened. During this battle, Malgus demonstrated the Jarkai dual saber technique, using Vindican's weapon alongside his own to devastating effect. After striking down the Jedi Battlemaster, Malgus turned on his own defeated master and killed Vindican as well. Retaking Korriban was swift and calculated, an easy victory for the returning Sith Empire. After the battle, Darth Malgus walked the surface of Korriban, his ancient forebear's homeworld. During his pilgrimage to the Valley of the Dark Lords, the Force showed him a powerful vision. It revealed a system in flames, an entire galaxy-spanning government requiring cleansing by fire. From that moment forward, Malgus believed he was destined to be responsible for the fall of the Republic and its Jedi Order. The vision wasn't limited to the Republic that needed purification. In his short time in the galaxy, Malgus had learned that the Sith Empire had become weak. They limited themselves based on ancient dogma and irrelevant narratives about outsiders. Malgus knew the Empire had to be reformed and molded back into the power base it was meant to be. Everything this vision showed went against his training. For now, These revelations would sit in the back of his mind while he gained the wisdom to understand them fully. The Great Galactic War began after Korriban's retaking, lasting 28 years. During this conflict, Malgus played critical roles in numerous battles. His recovered journals explain his presence at Ord Radama, Endymion, and Bothaui. One of Malgus's chief rivals was Lord Adras, a political climber. On Ord Radama, Adras even tried to claim credit for Malgus's victory at Livian Magnus. In the Force, Adras was a lightweight compared with Malgus. In 3671 BBY, the Republic victory at Bothaui stalled the Empire's advance, a rare check on Sith momentum. As the war progressed, Malgus became well known by Sith and Jedi alike. His peers thought twice before angering him, and his name alone struck fear into Jedi hearts. He became known as a Butcher of Jedi, showing no mercy. It would be about 14 years after Korriban before Malgus earned the title of Darth, just before leading the assault on Alderaan in 3667 BBY. The Scars of Alderaan. By the time of the Hope trailer, Darth Malgus was 33 years old. He led a surprise attack on the core world of Alderaan with help from Shae Vizsla, a Mandalorian mercenary whose people were allied with the Sith Empire. The assault succeeded in bringing the planet to its knees through coordinated strikes. Victory turned to near disaster when Republic forces counterattacked. Havoc Squad arrived with Jedi Knight Satel Shan, who had grown tremendously since their encounter years earlier. This time, she defeated Malgus in battle by overpowering him with concentrated Force energy. The injuries Malgus sustained were severe. Satel's Force blast combined with a thermal detonator explosion that went off directly in his face. The collapse buried and crushed him, permanently damaging his lungs. This was why he later required a respirator. His lungs had been severely damaged. Even after being crushed by tons of stone, Malgus raised himself up again and continued fighting in different areas before retreating, likely with Shae Vizsla's help. In the aftermath, an enraged and injured Malgus hunted down a surviving Jedi, a Zabrak, and defeated him in the ruins, thinking back to his father's final lesson that sometimes there is only an empty cage offering no mercy. The Battle of Alderaan scarred his face and body forever. He turned the sting of failure into power for future victories. Alina nursed him back to health during his recovery before he put on his respirator mask. During the Cold War period following the Great Galactic War, Malgus took an apprentice named Darth Carid. She had been a Jedi Padawan named Kana Terid under Master Nos Dural, until corruption turned her to the dark side. Malgus placed her in charge of a mighty superweapon called the Ascendant Spear. His apprentice was eventually killed by Republic SIS agent Theron Shan. The loss of his apprentice was meaningless to Malgus. To him, training an apprentice was merely a duty expected by the Sith Empire. He didn't mourn her death. This coldness toward loss would prove significant in shaping his ultimate choices. In 3653 BBY, during the sham peace talks on Alderaan, Darth Angral dispatched Malgus to strike the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. The Emperor intended this assault to force the Jedi into signing a peace treaty that would end the war and declare the Sith Empire victorious. Darth Angral's simultaneous peace talks forced the Republic to capitulate once the capital fell. Malgus didn't learn of the peace treaty plan until after the battle was completed. This deception would have profound consequences on his loyalty to the Empire. The sacking of Coruscant. The assault on Coruscant represented the Empire's most audacious strike. Sith forces hit multiple targets simultaneously, while the Senate was distracted by fake peace negotiations. Malgus led his warriors straight into the Jedi Temple's main hall, his crimson lightsaber cutting through defenders with efficient brutality. Alina Daru joined him for this critical battle. Over the years, she had become skilled with blaster pistols and proved capable of defending herself in combat. Her presence served a deeper purpose. She remained his anchor to something beyond pure destruction. When the dark side threatened to consume him completely, her face reminded him that choice still existed. During the chaos, Malgus confronted Jedi Master Ven Zalo, a respected Temple Guardian whose defensive mastery nearly matched Malgus's overwhelming aggression. Their duel was fierce and personal. At one point, Zalo's precise hilt strike actually dislodged one of Malgus's teeth, a detail that would become legend. Still dueling Malgus, Zalo redirected Alina's blaster fire into her and then hurled her into a column with the Force. The sound of her voice cut through Malgus's battle fury. He saw her lying wounded, clutching her side where the blaster bolt had burned through her clothing. In that moment, the careful control he had maintained for years shattered completely. Dark energy surged through him as he overwhelmed Zalo's defenses through sheer brutal force. When the Jedi Master finally fell, Malgus stood over his corpse. Alina whispered his true name, Veradun. She spoke his birth name in front of Sith and soldiers alike. His carefully maintained facade of pure Sith dedication was compromised in front of witnesses. After the temple's fall, Malgus rushed Alina to medical facilities. He demanded she receive treatment worthy of a Sith Lord, not a mere alien servant. When Imperial doctors protested that resources weren't allocated for non-humans, Malgus's fury made his position unmistakably clear. He made it plain that they would treat her, or else. The damage to his reputation was already done. Lord Adras, his rival who had witnessed the battle, reported Malgus's obvious attachment to their superiors. When Malgus met with Darth Angral to discuss the Empire's next moves, the conversation quickly turned to examining his relationship with Alina. The price of weakness. Angral questioned why Malgus showed such concern for a mere servant. Malgus was forced to lie, claiming she was simply a useful tool he didn't want damaged. The explanation satisfied no one. Adras interfered by diverting Alina to an understaffed alien ward, effectively sabotaging her care out of spite and political maneuvering. The confrontation between Malgus and Adras nearly erupted into violence right there in Angral's office. Only their superior's intervention prevented immediate bloodshed. He was shunted to orbital blockade duty, a clear punishment after rivals exposed his attachment. During his blockade duty, Malgus learned devastating news that would reshape his entire worldview. The Emperor had planned the Coruscant assault specifically to force a peace treaty. The war was ending not in total Sith victory, but in negotiated settlement. The notion of peace in any capacity was a betrayal of the Sith code. Malgus could not accept this outcome, and his vision from his youth became crystal clear. A cleansing fire must sweep the galaxy and put an end to failing legacies. For now, he would bide his time and wait for the Force to present an opportunity to act on his prophetic vision. During his frustrating blockade assignment, Malgus encountered a suspicious shuttle attempting to run their checkpoint. The ship's occupants claimed to be spice runners, but the Force warned him something dangerous was aboard. When he attempted to stop the battle, its pilot cursed him and tried to flee. Malgus's forces shot them down, watching the craft crash in a fiery explosion on Coruscant's surface. He could feel through the Force that the Jedi still lived. Research revealed the truth. The shuttle carried Aaron Lanier, former Padawan of Master Ven Zalo, the same Jedi whose deflected blaster shot had wounded Alina. She had gone rogue after sensing her master's death through their Force bond, abandoning the Jedi Order to seek personal revenge against the Sith who had killed him. The ultimate sacrifice. Malgus realized Aaron was hunting him specifically. He decided to hunt her first. He knew exactly where she would go. The ruined Jedi Temple, desperately seeking answers about her master's final moments and the identity of his killer. He waited in the darkness like a predator, hovering above the temple in his personal shuttle. When Aaron finally arrived, the warrior struck with overwhelming force. He leapt from his shuttle, plunging over 100 meters. Lightsaber ignited, he crashed through the temple's ruins and landed nearly on top of his target. Their battle was vicious and deeply personal. Malgus taunted the Jedi. He even equipped and activated Zalo's recovered green lightsaber to mock her grief. This Jedi was different from the others he had faced. Aaron Lanier fought with raw emotion, using her pain and anger as weapons rather than trying to suppress them. She proved strong enough to knock him back with force pushes, agile enough to evade his lightning attacks, and skilled enough to duel him effectively. During their confrontation, she managed to escape with help from her pilot ally, but not before making a chilling promise. Before retreating, Aaron told Malgus she would find a way to hurt him. Then it struck him. If Lanier had accessed the temple's recordings, she would have seen his outburst over Alina. She had seen his greatest weakness. It was not a risk Malgus was willing to take. For the first time in his adult life, he felt genuine fear, not for himself, but for someone he cared about. He tried to contact Alina immediately, but failed to reach her. Malgus ordered his men to go to her location and ensure her safety. By the time he arrived, his worst fears were confirmed. The Jedi had already taken Alina captive. His fury erupted. Everything he had worked to build, every reputation he had crafted, was being threatened by this single Jedi's quest for revenge. Aaron Lanier forced Malgus into an impossible decision. She would allow her Republic allies to leave the planet unharmed, or she would kill the Twi'lek woman. Swallowing his pride and rage, Malgus obeyed her demands and gave her friends safe passage off-world. The humiliation burned worse than any physical wound. A Jedi had forced him to compromise his military duties through emotional manipulation. Everything the Sith taught about attachment being weakness was being proven correct in the most painful way possible. Their final confrontation was everything Malgus had expected and dreaded. Aaron fought with passionate intensity, fueled by grief for her dead master. She lacked the pure hatred necessary to truly embrace the dark side's full power. When Malgus unleashed his complete strength, Force lightning charged with years of suppressed fury, he overpowered her defenses completely. Aaron lay broken and burned on the landing pad, her skin badly scorched by the lightning. Malgus could have killed her easily with a simple gesture. Instead, he made an unexpected choice that revealed the depth of his internal transformation. He returned her lightsabers and allowed her to depart Coruscant unharmed. She had shown him what he must do next, so he let her go. As the dust settled, Malgus rushed to Alina's side. When Alina awakened in his arms after the battle, she whispered the words that had sustained them both through years of secrecy and danger. She loved him. For the first time in their relationship, Malgus said the words back. He loved her too. That was what was wrong. Love was a chain, a vulnerability the Jedi had just exploited. Attachment made him weak, and that weakness led to defeat. He made the choice that would define everything that followed. Malgus stood, ignited his crimson lightsaber, and drove it through Alina's heart. She died with shock and confusion in her eyes, unable to understand why the man who had saved her was now destroying her. Her last expression haunted him, not anger or fear, but pure bewilderment at this ultimate betrayal from her rescuer and protector. Malgus understood perfectly. He had cut away the last thing that could be used against him. The tears he shed as Alina fell were the last he would ever shed. The part of him capable of compassion died with her on that landing pad. In the moments after her death, Malgus confronted Lord Adras, who had called his servant a mongrel to his face in their previous meeting. He butchered Adras, snarling that men like him had poisoned the Empire by trading strength for hollow peace. With love finally purged from his heart, he became the perfect Sith weapon. His vision was now in total clarity. The Emperor and his lackeys had adopted peace with the Jedi and Republic, going against everything the Sith represented. A war had ended with no true victor, a conflict concluded through negotiation rather than domination. He developed what would become his driving philosophy. There could be no peace with the Jedi, no truce. There could be no peace at all. Not ever. Over the next 10 years, he patiently built his power base. With the fame that came from the sacking of Coruscant, Malgus finally became a high authority figure within the Empire, even briefly holding a seat on the Dark Council after Darth Arho's fall. He oversaw special operations carried out by the Imperial Army and other Sith Lords. When he wasn't directly working for the Empire, he secretly conspired against it. In his spare time, he recruited allies and built relationships with various species, including Trandoshan warriors and alien scientists. Unlike other Sith, Malgus believed diversity made them stronger, not weaker. He even covertly aided the Republic against certain Imperial rivals like Darth Arho, leaking their plans to remove opposition and solidify his power. He recruited a scientist named Arcus Wode, who helped access Rakatan technology from the Foundry. They even found and repaired the legendary assassin droid HK-47, adding this formidable weapon to Malgus's growing arsenal. Eventually, rumors spread that a Jedi had faced the Emperor on Dromund Kaas and defeated him. The Emperor's mysterious silence reinforced the rumor's apparent truth. With the Sith Emperor seemingly eliminated, Malgus knew his time to strike had finally arrived. The new Empire. Malgus moved decisively to seize control of Imperial assets. He asserted himself on the world of Ilum, where the Empire was harvesting Adagan crystals. Whether the Dark Council had actually sent him or this was an elaborate deception remained unclear. Either way, Darth Malgus betrayed the Empire in favor of rebuilding a new one according to his revolutionary vision. His new empire would not allow the Jedi to exist or permit any peace to take hold. It would recruit all alien species, wasting no untapped potential. After securing the Adagan crystals on Ilum, he stole and occupied the Emperor's mobile fortress. His ally, Arcus Woad, used the Adagan crystals to power their stealth fleet. The entire armada carried cloaking devices, rendering it nearly invisible to enemy sensors. This technological advantage would give them the element of surprise in any conflict. The Dark Council strongly disapproved of Malgus's coup attempt. They sent a strike team to eliminate him and his rebellion. The first team assaulted his power base on Ilum, capturing or killing many of his high-value assets and leaders. Defectors were hunted down across Imperial space. The strike team eventually located him aboard his stolen fortress. On their way to the final confrontation, they defeated HK-47 and captured or killed Arcus Woad. Before his defeat, Malgus initiated the station's self-destruct. The final battle took place in the former Emperor's throne room, where Malgus had declared himself the new Emperor. The seat belonged to him now, as only those strong enough to seize it could keep it. He had proven his strength by seizing the most secure fortress in Sith space. Ultimately, Malgus was defeated in the Emperor's throne room and left for dead as the station exploded. The combined assault team proved too much even for his enhanced abilities. He was left inside the space station when it exploded in a massive fireball visible from orbit. To the known galaxy, Malgus died in that moment. This was not the end of his story. Over a decade later, Darth Malgus's death proved to be a carefully orchestrated deception. It was revealed that the Sith Empire had actually captured him from the wreckage and held him in a carbonite prison. When the Empire finally returned to open conflict with the Republic, Malgus emerged and seemed loyal to his former masters once again. The truth was far more sinister. Empress Asina had kept Malgus on a tight leash via pain implants and conditioning, using him as their enforcer against the Jedi. While under their control, he spearheaded the attack on Corellia's Meridian complex and dueled Jedi Knight Taui Dare amid the burning shipyards. On Ossus, he struck down Jedi Master Nostaral, leaving him gravely wounded. The Empire would learn that keeping Malgus alive was a catastrophic mistake. When his control chip failed, Malgus woke free and demanded release. The mind domination he had endured was severe, requiring him to seek out Jedi artifacts on Dantooine to heal his damaged psyche. To break his conditioning, he raided the Dantooine Enclave and seized a Darth Nul holocron. Using knowledge related to the powers the Jedi Council had used to rearrange Revan's mind, Malgus succeeded in breaking his mental chains to the Empire. Aaron Lanier even felt his presence return there, full circle from their last clash. Now roughly 75 years old, Malgus operates alone, hunting forbidden tech. On Ilum, he stormed the Temple of Nul, fought Master Orr and his Padawan, and condemned both Jedi and Sith for hoarding power. He hunts for Darth Nul's relics and other superweapons to ignite the cleansing fire from his vision. Malgus showed that love is weakness, even for the strongest Sith. His choice of power over compassion sealed his fate. But one Sith went further, Darth Bane, who destroyed thousands to reshape the Order. So watch his story next.